not on our usual mics, so it's a little tricky. We're also not on our usual camera, but I appreciate the flexibility of our AV crew. Hopefully, those of you watching online, welcome, are also able to see. My name is Tom Perry, he, him. I am a 6-foot-tall white man with mostly grayish hair and a kind of funky 60s floral shirt. Here at First Unitarian, our mission is to explore the eternal, nurture community, and pursue the common good. We thrive in community, not in spite of our differences, but because of them. Again, thank you to our volunteers who make Sunday mornings possible. And once again, thank you to our YouTube participants. Just a general reminder to tag us, mention us in your social media, let your friends know of your experience here. Also, we ask that you please silence your cell phone. You want to do that? One special announcement is this coming Saturday at 2 p.m. there will be a memorial service for Billy Parsons. More information about our doings is available on the back of the order of service, on the weekly newsletter, or the website. We strive to share information. Staying informed in community life is a shared responsibility. Now, Reverend Kent has a brief special message.
So good morning, I'm Reverend Kent. I'm another tallish middle-aged white man wearing a purple and blue and green stole that is in silk stripes. There is quite a bit of housekeeping this morning, so I wanted to pause to do that before we dive in. One is that you may have expected to be over in Daniel Hall this morning. Our HVAC project is about a month behind schedule, so good news, we get the sanctuary for another month. Bad news, we will be in there for the month of August. But we will get through this together. I keep reminding myself that we're able to do all of this as the fruit of a very generous gift. So while it feels like a bit of a headache, it is an incredible opportunity for our community. The other thing that I wanted to mention, Voice is hosting Who is My Neighbor? It's an event on July 21st. You've probably heard about it. It'll be about an hour to an hour and a half of hearing stories from some of our immigrant neighbors and busting some of the myths that you hear that are just dead and wrong. It's an opportunity to learn more. This isn't a political rally. This is more of a being together in community and learning together. You have in your possible hands a flyer that I made myself and cut myself on that paper. So take it with you. Give it to a friend or a family member, or stick it on the windshield of someone that has bumper stickers that look friendly. Use that flyer to spread the news of this project. Thank you.
And now let's take a short moment to greet each other. Notice at the end of your order of service, there are questions for coffee hour. There are new questions to help you deepen your engagement with the morning's topic and start a conversation with someone you don't already know. Our fresh flowers were donated by Todd Hildebrand, who's just up here, in honor of his wife, Emily, and Tooker. Now, to light the challenge, I invite Board President Marilyn Merritt. This is The Light Within Us by Brian C. Lee. We buy our chalice as a symbol of the light within us and the light that flows through the world around us. It is our beacon as we search for truth. It is the warmth in our hearts to love. It is the energy that propels us to action. May we be kindled by our time together.
We'll also light our memorial candle this morning. Joyce Halo, a longtime member of First Unitarian Church in Oklahoma City, passed away on June 21st after a short illness. As a stalwart participant in the Alliance, Joyce's smile and laughter lit up the room. She and her mom were dedicated volunteers who folded the paper newsletter when those existed for several years. Joyce was impacted by Turner syndrome, which gave her a smaller stature and some more invisible challenges. One of the ways you might honor her legacy is by making a contribution to the Turner Syndrome Society. We'll now light our candle and hold a short moment of silence to honor Joyce.
I invite you to join with me in reading our covenant. Words can be found in the Word of Scripture. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
We come to this religious community from many paths with diverse needs. If you come here seeking comfort, may your pain be soothed. If you come here looking for answers, may you find new questions. If you come here seeking purpose, may your call be awakened. And if you have come here hoping to build a new way, may the path open before you. Friends, welcome to this good place and our time to be together in worship. Our opening hymn today is We Are a Gentle, Angry People. That's number 170 in your great hymnals. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit to join in.
We are
All of us need all of us to make it. For our prayer this morning, I want to invite us to sink into a deeper awareness of that truth. You might let your eyes close, sit a little more deeply in your seat, connect with the sacred or that warm spot in the middle of your chest as we remember all of us need all of us to make it. All of us need all of us to make it. All of us need all of us to make it. Amen. Blessed be.
As some of you know, I was the one who selected today's sermon topic about mutual aid. I was one of two winners in the spring's One You See Church auction who get to do this. I selected the topic primarily because I wanted to learn more about mutual aid. With government safety nets shrinking and so much uncertainty about what institutions we have left to rely upon, it's become clear to me that we are going to have to look to take better care of one another. I'm inspired by what little I know about mutual aid, examples such as the Black Panthers Free Breakfast Program and various anti-deportation groups that have risen up in the last 2 years, including Oklahoma's own CRN. But still, I'm a little vague about the details. I know that writing a check to charity is not mutual aid, but neither is volunteering time at a nonprofit. So is mutual aid just charity plus community? Or is there more to it than this? I'm looking forward to what Reverend Doss learned researching this and what he's chosen to share with us about it. And I'm very happy that the auction allowed me to outsource this work. I'll leave you with a picture for what I think the world would look like when mutual aid is widespread. You remember the early days of the pandemic? The no handshakes, the 30 days to flatten the curve, all that stuff? Well, there was a shortage of N95 masks in the local hospitals, and a call went out to the community. People sprayed through their garages and gardening supplies for masks and delivered them to the hospitals themselves. Neighborhood group chats sprang up to share pantry staples so people could avoid going to the grocery store. In that uncertain time, there wasn't just a willingness to share and help one another. There was a genuine eagerness. I believe it came from being of service. We all wanted to do something. This, I think, is the urgency we must cultivate. The urgency that allows us to serve each other, not out of obligation, nor guilt, but out of joy. Please transition to the offering. Generosity is a core value of Unitarian Universalism that we share, that we practice every Sunday. As you know, everything that goes to the plate, unless it's designated otherwise, is going to Change for Change Partners. And this month, Change for Change Partner is Curbside Enterprises. And the director of Curbside, Kitty, is here to tell us more about it.
Can you hear me now? Okay. My name is Kenzie Crocker. She, her. I am a middle-aged white woman wearing a mauve floral dress. Thank you for having me here today. I just wanted to start off by talking about homelessness in our community. On any given night, in our city, there are more than 1,800 people who are experiencing homelessness. And over the course of a year, it's closer to 11,000 people who are living without a home in our city. Those numbers don't even include people who are doubled up on couches, who are living in motels, or our jail system, or our hospitals. So there are a lot of people in our community who are struggling economically. And those people are as unique as you and I, and the situations and circumstances that got them into this terrible situation are also very unique, but I think there's a couple of truths that, across the board, one is housing costs money, right? And without income, it's really hard to get and maintain a home. And two, if you experience homelessness, especially over a prolonged period, of street homelessness, getting and maintaining a job can also be very difficult. Not everyone can just walk in somewhere and get a job. There are a lot of reasons, some visible and some invisible, that make getting employment really difficult. So it could be just not having regular access to hygiene facilities or transportation to get to and from work. It could be struggles with mental health or substance abuse. It could be, not having an ID, and employers are required to get a copy of your ID to legally hire you. And when you are living on the street, sometimes your things get stolen or lost or thrown away or destroyed in a sudden storm like we had last night. And it can take weeks and even months to get those documents replaced. It's also just the constant struggle of living in crisis. So if you're just trying to survive day to day, getting and maintaining a job can be really challenging. And so that's where Curbside has come in. Curbside was started 13 years ago to provide income and employment opportunities for people who are struggling with homelessness and poverty in our community. People are probably most familiar with the Curbside Chronicle magazine. You've probably seen people around town wearing green vests selling the magazine. It is a monthly publication, and a lot of people use it as an alternative to panhandling. So instead of feeling like they have to go out and ask for money, they can use it as a way to earn income and give a quality product in exchange for the money that they're being given. It provides a little bit of dignity, and we're also able to work with people to not only put money in their pocket with the dignity of earning it, but also work with them on time management, money management, and social skills. From there, we've been able to launch 3 additional businesses. Curbside Flowers is a full-service retail floral shop on Claflin and Fifth, where we have a retail shop where people come in and buy flowers. We do daily deliveries, weddings, and events. Curbside Apparel is a screen printing company where we print shirts and other items for businesses and organizations, as well as our own retail design. And Sasquatch Shaved Ice is a snow cone stand that employs youth over on Northwest 16th, and then we have a mobile unit that does events throughout the community. And with each of these programs, we're providing opportunities for people. We have job coaches that work alongside folks and help them work on skills like conflict management. It's a more traditional work environment than the magazine, because the magazine is meant to provide a lot of flexibility for folks. On average, the people we work with have experienced 6.5 years of homelessness. 82% of them haven't been employed in 2 or more years, and 25% of them haven't been employed in 10 or more years. And so the magazine really needs to have a lot of flexibility for people who are getting back into that rhythm of earning income. But the other businesses provide a lot more of a structured environment for people who are transitioning back into housing. Equally as important as our employment, we also have a support services program where we have housing case managers who work alongside our clients to build budgets, get access to IDs, find housing, and just work on the life skills needed to maintain their housing once they're able to get back in it. And so, while housing and employment are really important part of our mission, I'd say none of it would be possible without the third prong of our mission, and that is community. So we really want to give people who are housed and unhoused a positive reason to interact. And we do that through our employment programs. Homelessness can feel really complicated, But we believe everybody wants to be a part of the solution. Sometimes it can just really feel overwhelming and people don't always know where to start. And so we want to give people a tangible way to feel like they can make a little bit of a difference directly into the lives of someone. So if it's something as simple as you're going to be buying flowers anyway for your anniversary or sympathy flowers, we provide an opportunity for you to help someone. The $2 that you spend when you buy a magazine from someone may not feel like it's going a long way, but collectively, as a community, through the 20,000 magazines we sell each month, it adds up and makes a difference in people's lives. And none of that would be possible without the community. Like Reverend Ross said, all of us need all of us to make it, and I think Surfside provides a really good example of that. Is none of this would be possible without the community support and helping the folks that we work with. Through the community support, 200 people were able to gain and maintain housing last year alone through Curbside and earned over $1.1 million in income directly into their pockets. And so we're so grateful for every one of you. I've already heard from a couple of people, somebody who bought flowers from Curbside Flowers yesterday. So none of that would be possible without you, and so we're grateful for that, and we're very honored to be a part of the Change for Change this month. So thank you guys.
And we can go to music. Our ushers will pass the offering plate in the sanctuary. Online, you can make a gift through the One UC website or send a check to First Unitarian. Just make sure Change for Change is on the memo line. Would the ushers now please come forward and receive the offering?
Our reading this morning also comes from Reverend Julian Soto. In this community, we hold hope close. We don't always know what comes next, but that cannot dissuade us. We don't always know just what to do, but that will not mean that we are lost in the wilderness. We rely on the certainty beneath, the foundation of our values and ethics. We are the people who return to love like a North Star, and the truth that we are greater together than we are alone. Our hope does not live in some glimmering glimmer of an indistinct future. Rather, we know the way to the world of which we dream, and by covenant and the movement forward of one right action, and then the next right action, we know that one day we will arrive at home here in Target. I want to invite you into a very simple meditation. If you would indulge me, and let us take 3 deep breaths together. Big, deep breath in. Let that go. Another big, deep breath in. And let that go. And once more in. And release. Namaste, friends. You may have heard this phrase, mutual aid, before this morning. Mutual aid is the organizing principle behind a project that's now operating out of the One UC kitchen on a monthly basis. Also, our friends at Community Response Network are forming a mutual aid committee, and One UC members might be joining in support. What the heck is this mutual aid stuff? And why am I hearing the phrase bubbling up so often these days? Well, it's recently entered a common language, but mutual aid is nothing new. It's actually quite old. And its roots are echoed in our own Unitarian history and theology. In its simplest terms, mutual aid is a commitment of people supporting one another, sharing resources so that everyone can thrive. It's a little bit different from charity and other forms of assistance, though. One difference is the basic assumption that everyone brings something of value to the community. Rather than having givers and receivers of aid, mutual aid is a collaborative exchange so that the needs of all community members are met to overcome barriers to access. And that peer-to-peer sharing sometimes invokes this motto, solidarity, not charity. So mutual aid organizations avoid hierarchies in their organization and their programs. The goal is to build community resilience and address local needs while empowering everyone who is in this conversation. Ideally, the resources are shared unconditionally, regardless of nationality, residence, political alignment, religion, sobriety, race, or any other factor. Most often, mutual aid is about physical resources like food and clothing and medicine, but it also can be things like shared meals or education or showers. That term, mutual aid, was popularized back in 1902 by an anarchist philosopher, Peter Kropotkin. No, I said that wrong. Kropotkin. As his writing explored evolution and human thriving, he thought that we were actually succeeding through our cooperation, not our competition. So I said earlier that there's a parallel between mutual aid and Unitarian theology that goes way back. In our Unitarian circles, we talk about voluntary association. For the majority of us, Unitarian Universalism is a tradition of converts. While a few of us were raised in this tradition, most of you did the hard work of finding a faith community that you could fully embrace and actively choosing it. Actively choosing to be a part is a defining feature of who we are. Just before our friend Peter, the anarchist, wrote about mutual aid, in 1892, William Ellery Channing explored the idea of voluntary association. Later in the 1940s, James Luther Adams brought our attention back to voluntary association. Both believe that communities that people choose to be a part of, whether it's church or organizations, are critically important. So you've heard me say voluntary association a few times. That's because it's meant to contrast with non-voluntary associations. Non-voluntary associations include things like the government, of the state or federal government, or your family. Those are associations that you have no choice but to be a part of. They are compulsory, and man, they are powerful, and seemingly increasingly powerful every day. Adams pointed out that between the individual and those huge, powerful, non-voluntary associations stand communities that we choose voluntarily to be a part of. Those voluntary associations nurture freedom and mutual care and transcend the state. The key element for those organizations, according to both Adams and Channing, was the generation of freedom. So in 1890, Channing wrote, "The value of associations is to be measured by the energy, the freedom, the activity, the moral power which they encourage and diffuse. The great object of all benevolence is to give power, activity, and freedom to others." That sounds a whole lot like mutual aid. Now, James Luther Adams used the parable of the prodigal son to dig into his vision of voluntary association. That familiar story appears in the Gospel of Luke. In that area of the Bible, Jesus is sitting around telling story after story. And he said that there was a man who had two sons. The younger one said to his father, "Give me my share of the estate." So he divided his property between them all. This was not the kindest thing for a son to say to his father, basically saying, "Hey Dad, you're getting older. I want to have some fun. So give me what I have coming. And we'll call it good." I cannot imagine that going well or getting a good reaction. But it seemed to work with this father. And Jesus continues the story. Not long after that, the younger son got together all that he had and set out for a distant country. There he squandered his wealth in wild living. After he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in that whole country, and he began to be in need. So he hired himself out to a citizen of that country, who sent him to his fields to feed pigs. This is a bad situation. Hiring himself out put him in that person's care. In the ancient world, that wasn't quite like being a slave, but it was far away from being a person of full right in that country. Also, we can assume that the hearers of the story were Jews, and would assume the characters were Jews. You don't have to know a lot about Judaism to know that pork is a big no-no. So this son had sold himself to work in an industry that was both unpleasant and morally problematic. And the story continues. He longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. When he came to his senses, he said, "How many of my father's hired servants have food to spare, and here I am starving to death. I'll go back to my father and say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you.'" So he got up and returned home. This is a moment of sincere humility. He didn't say, "Well, Dad has plenty of money. He'll get over it." No, the son came to a deep realization that he had made a grave mistake. It was time to go home and do something different. The story says that when he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. The son said to his father, "I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son." Can you imagine what it would take to say that? Or to hear that coming from your child's mouth? "I am no longer worthy to be called your child." It's heartbreaking stuff 2,000 years later. But the father said to the servant, "Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fatted calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." So they began to celebrate. But Meanwhile, the story says, the older son was in the field. When he came near the house, he heard all of this music and dancing, so he called one of the servants and asked him what was going on. The servant explained, your brother has come home, and your father has killed the fatted calf because he has him back safe in town. The older brother was angry and refused to join them in the tent. So his father went out and pleaded with him. But he answered his father, look, all these years I have been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders. Yet you never gave me even a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when my brother, who has squandered your property on all sorts of wild adventures, comes home, you kill the fatted calf for him. His frustration is understandable. We all get frustrated when someone else gets rewarded, when we were the ones doing all the work. It's not fair. All these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders, said the good son. My son, said the Lord, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. And that's where the story ends, without a real resolution. The father throws a big party for the prodigal son, and the good son is angry and sulking outside of the tent, with the father pleading with him to come back in and join the party. James Luther Adams said that the love of the Father represents not only the love of God, but also the restoring love of reconciliation that humans are called to offer one another. I preach about this parable of the prodigal son probably more than any other. I believe that this story invites us into each of the three roles at different times of life. Like the prodigal son, we have all made mistakes, drifted towards temptation and greed of some sort or another, and faced the challenging decision to turn back, to say I'm sorry. Turning back is hard. Also, we've all been in the position like the Father to offer grace to others. Not because it's efficient or because it's logical or even fair, but because we find life and joy in sharing abundance. And just as challenging, we have all been in the role of the older brother, the good brother. We have all done the hard work and followed the rules, and we were all faced with the challenge to set aside our resentment or jealousy when abundance is shared with our siblings who had a different life. James Luther Adams described a person's faith as a question of what is found to be sacred or sovereign in any situation. He says that the older son makes his ethical principles sacred and sovereign, preventing reconciliation or relationship. The invitation is to put our faith into something bigger and more expansive. So I mentioned earlier that the term mutual aid was popularized in an exploration of evolution. Rather than referring to wisdom of ancient scriptures, they turned to the nature of wisdom. It was argued that cooperation, not competition, shaped our success in human evolution. solution. As human beings, we thrive because of our ability to cooperate. We're increasingly aware of this phenomenon in nature, whether it's pollinators and the flowers that use them, whether it's plants sharing nutrients with one another through fungi, or other plants feeding animals through their fruit and seeds with the hopes that those are distributed. We've all seen geese flying in a V formation. Canadian geese, you may know, are not friendly to humans at all, but they demonstrate incredible generosity toward each other. By using that V formation, a flock, a community has 70% greater flying range to its capability. That's incredible efficiency. We wonder at this coordination, but there's no rocket scientist in the East. There's no director of the air show with a little microphone. When one goose falls out of its formation, it immediately feels the drag of resistance, of trying to go alone. So it gets back into formation to take advantage of this beautiful little arrangement of nature. And I point that out not to suggest that they are lazy or unintelligent. I point that out because cooperation just happens naturally. And their arrangement, the head goose does quite a bit of extra work, unsupported by the others, but when the head goose gets tired, it rotates back into the wings of that V formation. It's just the way we thrive, naturally, by cooperation. Every once in a while, we get to see that automatic communal instinct. It's one of the things I love about camping and boating and outdoor adventures. You have to make sure that everyone has their basic safety net before you can have fun together on that adventure. Some of us have heard of or experienced the Oklahoma standard in moments of crisis here. More recently, COVID presented an array of ways of supporting others, taking medical supplies from our home to the hospital, performing outdoor concerts, whatever it took. And we got really creative those days. When we look around, there are innumerable examples of mutual aid. There were medieval craft guilds and fraternal societies during the Great Depression. Marginalized communities have been gathering to support one another for as long as they have existed. I'll mention the Black Panther Party's food programs in the 1960s. They were incredible. In the Peace Corps, I was delighted to stumble on this impromptu life insurance program that the village had created. They pooled their money with a trusted elder who kept accounts on a paper ledger in his home and distributed money when funerals were needed and families felt the burden of the loss. It wasn't a savings account, it was pooling the resources that happened so organically. Caring for one another is what we do. It's an instinct. The last thing I want to mention about mutual aid is that it has to be a both-and proposition. Attending to the immediate needs does not, it cannot replace government action for healthcare or education or disaster relief or any of other large-scale programs that really need big answers and big money. The best example I can think of this was how the LGBTQ community navigated the AIDS crisis. You may know the crisis began around 1980. What a lot of people don't realize is how we were left to fight the struggle alone for many years. President Reagan didn't mention AIDS in public until 1985 when a reporter asked him directly about it. By that time, 13,309 Americans had died of AIDS. It took 5 years and 13,000 deaths for him to mention it publicly. In a vacuum of support, we learned to take care of each other. young people who had been climbing mountains and dancing till dawn found themselves nursing each other, preparing meals for each other, holding cool washcloths to feed or for them. We learned to support one another in ways that we never knew. And we knew that we could not fight AIDS without a government response, so we organized and advocated for political power. This fight was too big, still is too big, to win without governmental support and financing. Helping one another is always a both and proposition. We provide loving care and create political change. We attend meetings and write the check. We pray for change and we go and vote for it too. There's no one way to contribute. Bring your gift to the table and trust that your neighbor is doing their part. Do what's sustainable, but we cannot afford to compete about the best way to help. Everyone brings something, even if some days that something is your presence. All of us need all of us to make it. Amen. Our closing hymn is 1017. It's in those green hymnals, building a new way. I invite you to rise in body or spirit.
Our faith, like a light, illuminates the path before us, so we can face earth with love, cultivate compassion, live humbly in community, confront despair with this awe of life. Though our flames are extinguished, our faith shines bright before us.
In his sermon, Drum Major Instinct, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. reminded us, everyone can be great because everyone can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and your verb agree to serve. You don't have to know about Plato or Aristotle to serve. You don't have to know Einstein's theory of relativity to serve. You don't have to know the second theory of thermodynamics in physics to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love, and you can be that servant. Friends, go in peace, let the light within you be a blessing to the world.